Hi everyone, I'm Alistair Ben and you're watching Expressive Photography. In this week's video, I want to ask the question, why is landscape photography so difficult? And more importantly, what am I going to do to change that? So I've been a professional photographer for nearly 15 years and I've been shooting again for nearly 25. And I still struggle sometimes when I go out to be free and to flow. So in this video, I want to look at 5 reasons why I think landscape photography can be challenging and difficult. And then later in the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that we can do to try and improve and overcome those barriers and challenges. So the first point is really quite straightforward. It seems so simple. Landscape photography, there's a big old landscape out there. We spend quite a lot of money on equipment and lenses and filters and tripods and then getting to the location. And you would think that it's just as easy as going out there and pointing our cameras at something cool and everything falls into place. But we all know that it's not that simple. So the fact that we think it should be simple, but it isn't, leads us on to point 2, which is the bar always changes. The bar is always moving. We get to a point, we suddenly feel competent, we suddenly feel in control, we're using the equipment that we want to be using, we feel that we've purchased everything we need to with our gear acquisition syndrome, but we go out and we learn all these techniques. We might read up about composition. We might learn a bunch of processing techniques or how to use ND filters or all of this stuff. And we get to a point of competence and we suddenly feel dissatisfied and there's another barrier in front of us. So that's point 2. The bar is always changing. The third one's a little bit more psychological in nature, is that we are always changing and we are not constant. We tend to have expectations of our own performance. I definitely suffer from this. I think I'm a professional photographer. I'm good at this. I should be able to go out on any day into any landscape and make good photos. That is not the case. Very regularly I go out and struggle. So we have these expectations of our performance. At the moment, the Euro football tournament is on and there are teams who are not performing to their best or their expectation of themselves or the crowd's expectation of them. And that is just a natural fact of life. Sports people, musicians, all sorts of people go out every day and don't hit the bar that they would like to. Point 4 is a human trait that is probably one of the hardest things for us to overcome, and that is we are constantly comparing ourselves with others. In these days of social media and public forums and so forth, we are constantly bombarded by quality work by any number of amazing photographers. I am constantly comparing myself to the work of my peers and that of incredibly talented amateurs who don't have the pressures of making content or writing educational material or running workshops, and they go out and make incredible photographs because they're doing it for the love of doing it. So again, this comparative thing is very, very easy for us to get locked into, and that is point number 4. And finally, point 5 of what makes landscape photography so difficult for us is that it is so much easier for us to concentrate on failure than success. Our successes last very, very short periods of time and our failures tend to weigh over us and hang heavily on us. And this again is a part of being human, is we focus on the negatives, we obsess over the negatives, and that can be, I don't have a good enough camera, I don't get to go to fancy enough locations, I don't have the time I would like, I can't afford a fancy computer to do the processing with all of these super huge raw files anymore. The list goes on and on and on. So there we have it, 5 pretty obvious and significant reasons of why landscape photography can be extremely difficult. In the next part, we're going to look at 5 ways that I think we can break that cycle and actually move forward in a far more positive way. I'd like to thank Case Filters for their continued support of our work and would recommend anyone looking to upgrade their filter systems to check out the great range of options available. I exclusively use Case Filters because of their exceptional quality and durability. They never let me down. Click on the link in the description below and use the code Alistair for a 5% discount. So what can we do to improve this scenario? What can we do to make landscape photography easier for us? Well, the first thing is, if you're struggling, get out there. Get out with your camera. Go to somewhere local. Go somewhere that you can go on a daily basis. Just get out there with your camera. There's no point in sulking in our offices, bedrooms, lounges, conservatories, kitchens with a bottle of wine, bemoaning the fact that we are sucking at our photography. Grab your camera bag, get out into the landscape. Again and again on the Expressive Photography channel, I want to focus on being out is good for us. Being out and exercising in nature has proven benefits to our mental health and for our physical well-being. So get out there with your camera. We need to get back on that horse as quickly as possible. Point number 2, get out there and try things. Slow down. Don't rush to the location and start filling your boots with expectations of what you're going to do. Today's the day that I'm going to turn the corner. Today's the day I'm going to start making good photographs again. That is absolute poison for your creativity, and it will be poison for your motivation. You just have to go out there and slow down and try things. If something captures your eye, just try. Point number 3 is to be open. The more we walk into the landscape with an expectation of what we want to try and do, the less likely we are to actually succeed. Being open to things, and even if those things aren't going to be successes, at least we're open. Quite often I find that if I go out into the landscape and just say, okay, that looks kind of cool, I'm going to try it. Even if the photographs don't turn out to be that successful because of whatever, it just doesn't inspire you particularly. Looking through the viewfinder is a way of closing off those blinkers like a racehorse on a track. You suddenly realize that looking through the viewfinder can actually deliver very, very positive things in shutting down that internal monologue of comparing and expectation. And point number 4 is incredibly important, and I would say that this is the most important thing to get through that funk of making photography hard to making photography easier. And that is when something excites you, go with it. Immerse yourself, run with it, try all the different things, play around with it, get excited. This happened to me just the other day. I was out and I was really funked up. I was struggling. I was there to make a video. I was there to make photographs, and my headspace was awful. I finally found a scene that excited me. The calmness, the expansiveness, just the majesty of the landscape just took my breath away, literally. And I found myself in my happy place. And even if it only lasts 15 or 20 minutes, I felt definitely healed in terms of that being out and just coming away with something that excited me and I felt proud of. The images I actually felt very, very contented with. And that's just because the ducks were lined up in a row. I was open to just seeing things, tried lots of things that didn't particularly work, but then at the same time when something was presenting itself that just filled me with that passion, I knew it, I recognized it, and I went with it. I didn't fight it, I didn't try to overthink it, I just really went with it in a very intuitive way. And finally, point 5, which is the same as learning guitar, or if you want to start working out in the gym, repeat. Point 5 is just repeat. Get out there with your camera, try things, experiment, play, be open. All of those things are just bicep curls for our creativity. They are bicep curls for our muscle memory. All of those things are going to just get ingrained in us. And that final thing of just noticing when things aren't going your way and just thinking, right, this is not leading me in a positive direction. I'm going to try and just chill out and I'm going to obsess over those sand patterns over there or whatever it might be, or I'm going to start defocusing my camera to look at bokeh circles, whatever it takes to just get your head in a different place. So hopefully this has been of some value to you. Like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years and I still have days where I go out and I let myself down. I go out and have expectations. I go out and try too hard. I go out and I force it. I go out with too much going on in my head and I just let it stay there. I do hope you find this content useful. Join me again next week when we'll be talking about something else. First time on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, dive into the comments. What makes photography difficult for you and what are the ways you've found to overcome that? Thanks for watching. I'm Alistair Ben. This is Expressive Photography and yeah, see you again soon. Bye for now.